They're waiting for the person to say, okay, fine. You know, and he's walking slowly, but he's walking confidently in his slowness.
Exactly.
You know, enough to convince the other person that they are actually going to walk out, and then the deal's dead. Mm-hmm. You know, and they got this useless piece of shit. Nobody else is going to buy it, and you're on a fucking Pawn Stars show. Of course, you're going to say, hold on. Wait, come back. Fine. What did you want to spend on it? Whatever you want, buddy. And that's what fucking Trump is banking on.
Yeah.
Right now. That he's walking out slowly right now for the last month.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know what the right thing is. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
Like, we spending $5 billion on the wall. We don't have the money for it.
We don't have $5 billion.
Ridiculous. Period. And it's basically, if we give into it, okay, maybe I do know how I feel about it. But at the same time, I can't help but empathize so much with people who are not getting paychecks, or alternatively working and not getting a paycheck.
And he's using that against us.
Yes.
He's using our fucking compassion against us. He's like a fucking criminal in an action movie.
Yeah.
You know, where he holds a school bus of kids, like on Spider-Man or something. Mm-hmm. It's like save the children, or, you know, get what you want. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
He's holding our compassion against us.
Exactly.
And it's disgusting.
And it really reminds me, too, of, you know, there's been research about women's leadership styles and men's leadership styles. And, you know, one of the things they usually find, especially when they study women in Congress, is that, you know, women are way more likely to create a sort of committee of, you know, people and to sort of rule by consensus.
Right.
And men are just like, either you're with me or you're against me. Either you're in the circle or you're not in the circle. And when you're not in the circle, you're an enemy.
Wow.
And that's so much like Trump. Like, basically, I mean, just the fact that he thinks that most federal workers are Democrats and, like, his enemy anyway. It's just so weird to me, because I'm like, you do understand how... It's like he doesn't understand how much goes into making America work.
Right. He does.
And these people are a part of it. So, regardless of what political party they are on your side. Like, they're your people.
We're all on the same team here, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Marines and the fucking Army competing against each other. Like, we're all on the same fucking team, guys.
Yeah. It's like we're all fighting for the same stuff. We all want the same things at the end of the day. I mean, most of us, I do think that there are some actual sinister Republicans out there who just want to see pandemonium and, like, want us to become, you know...
Fucking Mad Max.
Yeah, Beyond the Thunderdome.
Or Bird Box. Or whatever it is.
Peter Thiel comes to mind. But, yeah. Anyway, it's just odd to me that we're watching this on display.
Yeah.
And yet we're supposed to just be like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with masculinity here. Like, all the men that are involved with this definitely... I mean, and then you see Mitch McConnell this week, like, basically do everything he can to not move us forward, basically abdicating his duty completely as head of the Senate, and just being like, nope, Trump doesn't want this, so I'm not going to do anything. And it's like, you do understand you don't work for him.
Right.
You work for the American people.
I mean...
like, you don't work for him.
I mean, you were put in your position for a reason, so you can make decisions, man.
Yeah, like, exactly. Not just defer to the guy who knows nothing.
Right.
The Jon Snow of our government. But at least Jon Snow had a fucking heart.
Yeah. At least he, like, understood good and evil.
Exactly. Like, so that was just one example of, like, really, we probably should re-examine how we teach boys to perform masculinity.
I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna say that, like, because, you know, you raise your little kids, of course, like, you know, and the boys always want to play with guns and things like that. They're gonna be like,
not necessarily. Like, I again,
but there's no, but that's okay. You could still play with guns and stuff, and like, and be masculine and still be a good man. You know what I mean? Like, you could still be masculine and be a good man without it reaching toxic levels. Like, masculinity itself is not on fucking trial here. It's the toxic masculinity.
But you keep saying that word, but conservatives would say, what does that mean? Right? Like, what... And that's kind of the issue. It's... So what I'm trying to say is, like, So getting to the extreme levels of certain personality traits
right.
would be seen as toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
But I think they would say, like, but sometimes those things are necessary.
Okay, well then in those instances, it will be forgiven. But in everyday fucking life, you don't need to be behaving that way.
That is very true.
Right?
You really don't need, like, a bunch of aggressiveness if you're just, like, a data programmer.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. It's just like, you know, it's almost, I feel like it's, like with Matt Delonte and the morality, secular morality, and the superiority of secular morality, because it's situational. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, sometimes masculinity is fucking kick ass when a bad guy's trying to kill everybody, like in the fucking movies.
I feel
and
like
you got your Indiana Jones character to come out and kick some ass or whatever. But you know, that's not the way fucking life works, and like, you know, in their everyday shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
I feel like we're not even on the right track when we're talking about this too, though. I feel like even we aren't getting this right. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
I don't know. There's just this feeling that there's something missing from this conversation about the way that we talk about masculinity and femininity. And I think the biggest thing is we can't agree on whether it's innate or it's sociologically constructed, because that changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
right now, if we're saying, hey, men are too aggressive, y'all need to be less aggressive, then what all these conservatives and male rights activists hear is that the way that I naturally am is wrong. That's discrimination. Yeah,
and that's, again, that's an unfalsifiable claim, because we can't test it. Because if we did, it'd be inhumane.
Exactly. Like, we really can't. But at the same time, though, in real life, you can see how, like for example, women in the idea of femininity. So even in the last 40 to 50 years, women's idea of femininity have changed markedly, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like I mean, the idea that your virtue and your virginity really was the only thing that mattered about you,
right?
Or that in a workplace your only role is to be an assistant to an important man, or that in a marriage or in a relationship your only role was to be the helpmeet. Gross. Yeah. So even the idea of femininity and what it means to be a woman for women has changed radically in a very short period of time. Yeah. But I feel like that hasn't really happened for the most part for men. Or it is happening, and there seems to be a big group of people who are like, fuck it, I don't want to do that. So with that said, let's move on then to talk about Kevin Hart and Louis C.K.
Okay.
So, you know, quick rundown. Kevin Hart called a bunch of people, you know, the F word, said a bunch of homophobic shit on Twitter, even, you know, in his set was talking about, on his set and on Twitter, joked about basically throwing a dollhouse over his son's head. If he ever
bashing his kid's head with a fucking dollhouse.
Yeah, if he was ever like, or I think it wasn't a dollhouse, it was like his daughter's Barbies or something.
Oh, he would beat him with the Barbies?
Yeah, either way, it was violence for
it was not cool.
Gender non-conforming behavior.
Right.
And then but the point is he would like hit the kid and say, stop, that's gay.
Oh, right.
So then also, you know, saying that, you know, instilling homophobia very early into your very small child.
Definitely.
And creating this connection between masculinity never being behaviors that also girls do.
What? Yeah. Exactly.
Which is like fucked up. And then if you do that, then you're gay. Which is like not even related, like, but he like pushes them together.
Sense at that age.
Exactly, yeah. So clearly homophobic shit, and he's just been kind of flippant about apologizing about it. And then of course Louis C.K. came back into the news because he's now doing jokes about the Parkland students.
Yeah, because he was a piece of shit
folks
before.
Yeah.
So he was just like, hey, you know what? Since I'm such a piece of shit, I'm going to go be a piece of shit harder.
Exactly. So that brings us to that other, you know, traditionally masculine trait.
Yeah. Of pushing back.
Exactly. And just not apologizing. Like never needing to admit wrongdoing.
Right.
Just like pushing forward anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
and like this whole saving face and like just keeping, you know, not showing weakness. And I think that's like a big part of it, is not showing weakness and not showing vulnerability. And let's be honest, to show growth, to show you're truly sorry. Yeah. You have to be vulnerable.
You have to be a little. You know, we would have forgiven you, man. Like, had you come out and like done your fucking comedy special in the right way, you know, and addressed everything that happened, it could be funny. Like, you can make it funny and still be like, I'm so sorry, and I'm getting help. Yeah. I'm going to therapy and things. And here's the things my therapist said. He brought up my blah, you know, and make it funny, whatever.
I mean, I think there would definitely be some people, especially some women, who would just be done. You know, and that's fair, because what he did was really fucked up. And
it's disgusting.
Yeah, he was really fucked up. And then his most recent behavior is even more troubling. Or not even more troubling, but definitely adds to the already troubling nature of the shit that we've experienced with Louis C.K. in the past year. But I think what would have happened is, at the very least, people who did want to forgive him would have had
would have had grounds.
Yeah, would have had grounds for it. Like, more grounds than they do currently, right?
Right.
And they would have been more secure in feeling like, okay, I can support this person because they made a mistake, but they did everything they were supposed to do to make it right.
Right. And gave a fuck that they did something wrong.
Exactly. You know? Which is really the whole point in the end.
Right.
And that's why all of this is so, you know, when we talk about Kevin Spacey, when we talk about, you know, all of these motherfuckers, Matt Lauer, like all of these motherfuckers, Aziz Ansari, even though Aziz Ansari is a different situation completely, of course. Very but at the same time, like, some of that shit was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, some of that
gross,
shit was really uncomfortable.
Man. Like,
and, like, the whole point is that just be honest.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
That's it.
Like, just be honest. Like, you want to be a comedian, you want to be loved and revered for being able to get on stage and share your whole world. Well, you can't do something fucked up and then think that the world just forgot. Like, you are autobiographical all the time.
Right.
And yet now you want us to just act like that whole thing didn't happen?
And just like it's forgotten.
Come on. That's not even real. No. And what's so sad about it is I'm not even a comedian, and I already in my mind can figure out how to organize and draft a way of talking about particularly what Louis C.K. did, and not necessarily to make it funny, but at least to make it illuminating. Like, I don't know if you watched Nanette. Nanette. It was a comedian. Oh God, Hannah Gadsby. She's a comedian. She is a fat lesbian, and so she did a show that was surprising, because instead of doing all of these self-deprecating jokes to basically make men happy, because that's basically the reason why, you know, women, especially women who are not like conventionally attractive, do all of these self-deprecating jokes. She just wanted to come out and like actually tell, you know, just like be herself, you know,
talk about life.
Yeah, and not like do these things to make other people feel better, to basically reinforce the social hierarchy in the way that it exists.
Well, she just wanted to talk about comedy the way she wanted to do it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Without fucking making herself the butt of every fucking joke.
Exactly, which is pretty much required by anyone who's not a white dude.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's so weird. But even though, so, you know, Louis C.K. was a great comedian, you know, when he was, because it did seem like he recognized how awful he was as a person.
Yeah. And that's sort of the point, right?
But he was recognizing his awfulness in a way that was sort of universal. But then when we got these stories about him wicking, you know, like fucking masturbating in front of people.
Blocking a girl into a fucking hotel room because he stood in front of the fucking door and jacked off in front of her. Not letting her escape that's pretty fucking disgusting.
Yeah. And like terrifying.
Disgusting.
That's fucking disgusting and terrifying.
I mean, that's
like you can't just not talk about that, dude. Like,
no, I mean,
it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, once you do that, it matters.
Yeah. So the fact that he just doesn't want to talk about it, and now he's basically morphing himself into like the I hate progressives crowd. It's like, way to be a, middle-aged white dude.
Wow.
Like, way to be a fucking baby boomer, dude.
Right? Because
Wasn't
he progressive and stuff? Didn't he do, like, jokes about homophobic people and how stupid they were then and everything?
Yes, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Like, he seemed like someone who